fans of high quality entertainment. So I thought today I would do a top 10 list of my favorite music memories, through my life. And, there's obviously more than 10, but these are just 10 that I came up with. And I would love your thoughts in the comment section below of, what are some of your favorite music memories. And these are, they're not really ranked except for maybe the top 3. So number 10 is I'm kind of promoting it too, but I just love doing it. As some of you know, I've got 2 Patreon channels, and one is for song reactions and album reactions, which I enjoy doing because I would say very, but I'm open to music, except for most rap music or new country. And so people, they send me songs to review or full albums, and I would say 95% of the time I at least like what I'm hearing. So I enjoy doing that. And then on my other Patreon channel, which I enjoy even more, is I do a weekly radio show. And growing up, I always kind of wanted to be a radio disc jockey, at a radio station playing what I wanted to play, of course, and talking on the radio. And now I get to kind of do it. I do 2, the radio show is about 2 hours long, and I talk in between each song, and my members send me in songs they want played on this radio station, on this radio show. And then also I every week I give a bonus radio show, which is about 90 minutes, and I select some of my favorite songs, and my other patrons select some of theirs, and there's no talking in the bonus. It's just all a mix of music. So I love that. I love sharing music with others, and also, sometimes finding new artists that I really like too. And what kind of is depressing with my radio show is I think I've got 9 Patreons. I've got a lot more on my song and album reaction channel. And there's the cheapest level is $2 per month just to listen to all of the radio shows. And I have 0 Patreons on that level. So I'm hoping that, some of you check it out and maybe at least go to the cheapest level, $2 per month. And it's not about the money, it's about getting more listeners to, and I would have it for free if I could, but I just don't like it being, if I did that, all these radio shows would be public, and I just worry about, copyright and everything. So think of joining for $2 per month. Yeah, this one I'll kind of put together, but there's more than these 2 artists. But I just have very special memories of when I became a fan of certain artists. And 2 that come to mind are Lou Reed and Frank Zappa. And I became fans of both around the same time in the mid-70s. So in the 60s, I would see these crazy Frank Zappa album covers, in record stores. We're Only in It for the Money, Lumpy Gravy, and other ones, Reuben and the Jets. And I would, just from the album covers, I would think I would like this guy, right? But I never listened to his music until I bought One Size Fits All in 1975. And I've been a fan ever since because I love that album. And about a year later, once again, I'd always heard about Lou Reed, Velvet Underground, never listened to the music, didn't know if I would like it or not, even if I did. But one day I found Coney Island Baby by Lou Reed I think it was in a cutout bin for a couple of dollars. And so I bought it, not knowing what to expect. And right away, the very first song, he's kind of singing out of tune a bit. And it's like, I like this. Because it's real, you know. He's not the greatest singer, never has been the greatest singer, but I just got him right away. And so, yeah, around, mid-70s, I became a huge fan of Frank Zappa, Lou Reed, and then a little later on, the Velvet Underground. But like I said, there's so many other artists that I could talk about. Same kind of memories. A more recent one, really, I guess through the years, you kind of go back and you listen to some bands you might not have heard before. But in the last year or two, I've really done that a lot. And going back to bands I never, I'd heard of, but I'd never listened to their music. And sometimes, Spotify gets a bad rap sometimes, and I do understand that. But on Spotify, I sometimes will check out a band, and if I like them enough, I'm going to buy their albums. But, going back and buying albums by Can, I've become a huge fan of Can. The Kinks, a lot of their 60s albums I never heard, and now I've got quite a few of them. Procol Harum, some of their albums I had never heard. The Moody Blues, big Moody Blues fan now. And, lots of other artists. But I would say and the Beach Boys, oh God, the Beach Boys. Yeah, like I keep saying, I've always loved, the Beach Boys hit songs, and Pet Sounds I always really liked. But just in the last year, I've become a major fan of the Beach Boys. And also Ween. And what's really kind of funny about that is I used to make these kind of mainly comedy songs using music loops mainly in the 90s, early 2000s. And some people would enjoy them, believe it or not. And sometimes I would get these comments like that my songs would remind them of Ween, because I would use, pitch shifted vocals and everything. But that was more influenced by Frank Zappa. But even back then, when they would mention Ween, I never checked them out. I had no interest. But now they are one of my all-time favorite bands, along with the Beach Boys and Sparks and the Beatles. And just last night, I listened to this live version. They did Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. And oh my God, it was just, they are just so talented. They're crazy, but they're very talented too. This might be a long video. I apologize. So that's 10 and 9, I guess. Number 8, doing this on YouTube. When I started on YouTube, I think I was just doing my silly comedy videos for a few years. And then just gradually I would start talking about the Beatles. I used to have this, one of my early music vlog episodes was become a fan of ... And I guess I did one on Sparks, become a fan of Sparks. Seriously, not knowing anyone would listen to me. Just kind of venting, I guess, oh, how much I love this band. Not thinking anybody would really check them out. But through the years, I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people that became fans of Sparks because I was talking about them. So I thank each and every one of you for giving them a chance. And just, the CD exchanges with Glenn Kellaway, they're fun. We're going to be doing more very soon. And just discovering music that, sometimes you think you might not even like it until you hear it. So it's always fun to discover new music, even if it's from the past, even if it's from the 60s or 70s. Well, yeah, this list is a bit mixed up now, but who cares about numbers? But the next one is, once again, just a big memory from my youth. I had a paper route, and I think it was the first album I bought with my own money, and it was Grand Funk Live album. I'd already heard, the Red album and possibly Closer to Home, but I bought my very own album, and it was a double, and I became obsessed with that. It's still my favorite live album. And it was also, as another memory, just over a year ago, I interviewed Mark Farner, the lead guitarist, singer for Grand Funk, and I'm going to be interviewing him again in early December to help promote his new album, Closer to My Home, which is excellent, by the way. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, just, kind of getting into other music besides the Beatles and the Monkees, harder edged music. And that's the next one. I guess I'll call it number 5. Excuse me. Like I said, in the late 60s, early 70s, I started listening to heavier music, which I love. Not everything, I'm not a big fan of heavy metal, like from the 80s or whatever, but, hearing Led Zeppelin 2 was the first Led Zeppelin album I ever heard, and just like instantly it's like, I love these guys. And same with Black Sabbath, when one of my friend's brothers, I was at his house and I heard, and he was playing Black Sabbath's Paranoid album. And it's like, I like this music. I gotta get it. So yeah. Number 4 is memories of my dad. And he had this stereo cabinet, big, long, wooden cabinet, and you would open it up and there would be a radio, a turntable, and a reel-to-reel tape deck. Yeah. And I just have memories of playing, like Abbey Road, Bio Country by Creedence Clearwater Revival, and this story I've told so many times, but I'm always getting new viewers, so maybe some of you haven't heard the story. It's just a funny memory. The very first time I played Abbey Road was on my dad's stereo cabinet, and so I think listening with speakers. We didn't have headphones then, and I'm just watching the vinyl record spin round and round. At the end of the end, the song was over. First time I ever heard it, and the needle wasn't being picked up, and the automatic going back, and the record kept spinning and spinning, and I was seriously confused. I said, I'm just hearing silence. The record's over, but it keeps spinning. I turned the volume probably all the way up. And then Her Majesty kicked in and I jumped about a foot or two. And I had my very first heart attack. I said that before, years ago. And somebody took me, people take anything seriously. So, did you really have a heart attack? No, I didn't, but it was a big shock. So yeah, somehow there's 10 of these, 9 or 10. So the top 3, and number 1 is always going to be number 1, but 2 and 3 are kind of either way. Number 3, I never thought I would see Paul McCartney in concert. And because just the way things worked out, I started communicating with his guitarist Brian Ray. He had a solo album out, which I really liked. And I just asked him, hey, would you like me to do a video for one of your songs? And so we started to interact, and we kind of worked on it together. It's the video that took me the longest to edit, because I really did work on it. It's called Coming Up Roses, Brian Ray. And yeah, I was really proud of it. So anyway, when Paul was in Toronto in 2010, Brian got me free tickets, 9 rows back, center stage with my ex, and we saw Paul McCartney in concert for like 3 hours. And before the concert, we met Paul McCartney's band. Not Paul McCartney, but just his band, and his band were awesome. Yeah. So that's a very special memory. Number 2 is the 50th anniversary, just I think 2 or 3 days ago. Seeing Sparks on the Midnight Special, November 1974. I didn't know what I was seeing, I didn't know what I was hearing, but it was like from another planet. I was confused, but I was also very interested, because I was thinking, this is different. And yeah, because of that performance, I've been a fan for 50 years now. So thank you, Ron and Russell Mael. And then, of course, seeing them in concert 5 times since 1982. Number 1 is the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. It's seriously 58, I was 5 years old. It's one of my first memories. And you either remember it if you're around my age, or if you're not, then it's not going to mean much to you. But for those that did see the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, it was like a whole new world. It was like going from black and white to color with music. And so I've been a fan of the Beatles since 1964, and they will always be my all-time favorite band. So that's it. I would love to hear some of your memories in the comments section below.